Hello, I'm Kim Dodsworth, Queensland storyteller. Today, something quite different. A small taste of a famous play by the great British playwright Terence Rattigan, 1911 to 1977. The play is The Winslow Boy. Its setting is just prior to World War I. Now, British justice is famed the world over, but what is just at law is not always what is right. When a 14-year-old naval cadet, Ronnie Winslow, was expelled from the Naval College, Brisbane, for the alleged theft of a 5-shilling postal order, his parents refused to accept the decision. They engaged Sir Robert Morton KC, the famous barrister and member of the House of Commons. In this short extract, acknowledged as Rattigan at his brilliant best, Sir Robert subjects the boy to a withering cross-examination to establish his guilt or innocence. Sir Robert commences his cross-examination. Will you stand at the table, facing me? That's right. How old are you? 14 and 7 months. You were then 13 and 10 months old when you left Brisbane, is that right? Yes, sir. Now, I would like you to cast your mind back to July 7th of last year. Will you tell me in your own words exactly what happened to you on that day? All right. Well, it was a half-holiday, so we didn't have any work after dinner. Dinner? Yes, at 1 o'clock, until prep at 7. Prep at 7? Yes, just before dinner, I went to the Chief Petty Officer and asked him to let me have 15 and 6 out of what I had in the college bank. Why did you do that? I wanted to buy an air pistol, which cost 15 and 6. Yes, sir. And how much money did you have in the college bank at the time? £2, 3 shillings. At this point, Ronnie's father, Arthur, speaks up and is soundly admonished by Sir Robert. So you see, sir, what incentive could there possibly be for him to steal 5 shillings? I must ask you to be good enough not to interrupt me, sir. After you had withdrawn the 15 and 6, what did you do? I had dinner. Then what? I went to the locker room and put the 15 and 6 in my locker. Yes, then? I went to get permission to go down to the post office. Then I went to the locker room again, got out my money, and went down to the post office. I see. Go on. I bought my postal order. For 15 and 6? Yes. Then I went back to college. Then I met Elliot Minor, and he said, I say, isn't it rot? Someone's broken into my locker and pinched a postal order. I've reported it to the PO. Those were Elliot Minor's exact words. He might have used another word for rot. I see. Continue. Well then, just before prep, I was told to go along and see Commander Flower. The woman from the post office was there, and the commander said, Is this the boy? And she said, It might be. I can't be sure. They all look so much alike. Go on. Then she said, I only know that the boy who bought a postal order for 15 and 6 was the same boy that cashed one for 5 shillings. So the commander said, Did you buy a postal order for 15 and 6? And I said, yes, and then they made me write Elliot Minor's name on an envelope and compared it to the signature on the postal order. Then they sent me to the sanatorium, and 10 days later I was expelled. Did you cash a postal order belonging to Elliot Minor for 5 shillings? No, sir. Did you break into his locker and steal it? No, sir. And that is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, sir. Right. When the commander asked you to write Elliot's name on an envelope, how did you write it? With Christian name or initials? I wrote Charles K. Elliot. Charles K. Elliot. Did you by any chance happen to see the forged postal order in the commander's office? Oh, yes, the commander showed it to me. Before or after you had written Elliot's name on the envelope? After. After. And did you happen to see how Elliot's name was written on the postal order? Yes, sir, the same. The same? Charles K. Elliot? Yes, sir. When you wrote on the envelope, what made you choose that particular form? That was the way he usually signed his name. How did you know? Well, he was a friend of mine. That is no answer. How did you know? I'd seen him sign things. What things? Oh, ordinary things. I repeat, what things? Bits of paper. Bits of paper? And why did he sign his name on bits of paper? I don't know. You do know. Why did he sign his name on bits of paper? He was practicing his signature. And you saw him? Yes. Did he know you saw him? Well, yes. In other words, he showed you exactly how he wrote his signature. Yes, I suppose he did. Did you practice writing it yourself? I might have done. What do you mean you might have done? Did you or did you not? Yes. It was only for a joke. Never mind whether it was for a joke or not. The fact is, you practiced forging Elliot's signature. It wasn't forging. What do you call it then? Writing. Very well, writing. Whoever stole the postal order and cashed it also wrote Elliot's signature, didn't he? Yes, and, oddly enough, in the exact form in which you had earlier been practicing writing his signature. I say, whose side are you on? Don't be impertinent. Are you aware that the Admiralty sent up the forged postal order to Mr. Ridgely Pearce, the greatest handwriting expert in England? Yes. And you know that Mr. Ridgely Pearce affirmed that there was no doubt that the signature on the postal order and the signature you wrote on the envelope were by one and the same hand? Yes. And you still say that you didn't forge that signature? Yes, I do. In other words, Mr. Ridgely Pearce doesn't know his job. Well, he's wrong anyway. When you went into the locker room after lunch, were you alone? I don't remember. I think you do. Were you alone in the locker room? Yes. And you knew which was Elliot's locker? Yes, of course. Why did you go in there at all? I've told you, to put my 15 and 6 away. Why? I thought it'd be safer. Why safer than your pocket? I don't know. You had it in your pocket at dinner time. Why this sudden fear for its safety? I tell you, I don't know. It was a rather odd thing to do, wasn't it? The money was perfectly safe in your pocket. Why did you suddenly feel yourself impelled to put it away in your locker? I don't know. Was it because you knew you would be alone in the locker room at that time? No. Where was Elliot's locker in relation to yours? Next to it but one. Next but one. What time did Elliot put his postal order in his locker? I don't know. I didn't even know he had a postal order in his locker. I didn't know he had a postal order at all. Yet you say he was a great friend of yours? He didn't tell me he had one. How very secretive of him. What time did you go to the locker room? I don't remember. Was it directly after dinner? Yes, I think so. What did you do after leaving the locker room? I've told you. I went for permission to go to the post office. What time was that? About 2:15. Dinner is over at 1:45, which means that you were alone in the locker room for half an hour. I wasn't there all that time. How long were you there? About 5 minutes. What were you doing for the other 25? I don't remember. It's odd that your memory is so good about some things and so bad about others. Perhaps I waited outside the CO's office. Perhaps you waited outside the CO's office, and perhaps no one saw you there either? No, I don't think they did. What were you thinking about outside the CO's office for 25 minutes? I don't even know if I was there. I can't remember. Perhaps I wasn't there at all. No, perhaps you were still in the locker room, rifling Elliot's locker. So, Robert, I must ask you. Quiet. I remember now. I remember. Someone did see me outside the CO's office. A chap called Casey. I remember I spoke to him. What did you say? I said, come down to the post office with me. I'm going to cash a postal order. Cash a postal order? I mean, get. You said cash. Why did you say cash if you meant get? I don't know. I suggest cash was the truth. No, it wasn't. It wasn't really. You're muddling me. You seem easily muddled. How many other lies have you told? None. Really, I haven't. I suggest your whole testimony is a lie. No, it's the truth. I suggest there is barely one single word of truth in anything you have said either to me or to the Judge Advocate or to the Commander. I suggest that you broke into Elliot's locker, that you stole the postal order for 5 shillings belonging to Elliot, and you cashed it by means of forging his name. I didn't. I suggest that you did it for a joke, meaning to give Elliot the 5 shillings back. But that when you met him and he said he had reported the matter, that you got frightened and decided to keep quiet. No, it isn't true. I suggest that by continuing to deny your guilt, you are causing great hardship to your own family and considerable annoyance to high and important persons in this country. That is a disgraceful thing to say. I agree. I suggest that the time has at last come for you to undo some of the misery you have caused by confessing to us all now that you are a forger, a liar, and a thief. I'm not. I didn't do it. This is outrageous, sir. Well, I must be going now. My car is at the door. All these papers. Send them around to my chambers tomorrow morning, will you? But Sir Robert, will you need it now? Oh, yes. The boy is plainly innocent. I accept the brief. I hope you enjoyed the cross-examination from the Winslow boy by Terence Rattigan. There'll be more stories of quality next week. I'm Kim Dodsworth, Queensland Storyteller.